Hi, I'm Eddie, and I'm just going to talk to you about my awakening experience. Like, if you're due to have an awakening experience, well, I shouldn't say due, but if you're going through one, yeah, I'll try and do a series of videos so you'll know what to sort of expect. Although no one really knows until they go through it. So, this video is about what triggered my awakening experience, and so I think there's a big lead up for my awakening experience, and that was I used to listen to certain songs, and looking back on them, they were actually awakening sort of songs. Like there's Avicii, if I said that right, Wake Me Up, which is pretty obvious, and then I also like Kermit the Frog and Debbie Harry. They do a great one of the Rainbow Song. So, and I think that's an awakening song when you look at more deeply into the lyrics. Yeah. So I've got Macklemore. I used to like that one, the Glorious one. So, and that's almost like an awakening song too when you start listening to it. So, and I listen to other things too, which were, I think, on that same sort of theme. Yeah. So, and then I was feeling like I was stuck in my job a little bit because I was working my weekends as well, trying to earn like a side hustle type thing, and I felt like I was just working all the time, and I felt so stuck that I couldn't change things. I even I decided to wear my watch on the other side, so I always had it on my right hand, and then I've changed it to my left, and just felt like, that's one thing I could do, was at least I could change which side I view my watch on, and and I started to watch things on the YouTube about people's near-death experiences and that sort of thing, and more spiritual type stuff. So, and I think all of these things all together really set the foundation for an awakening experience without me even realising it, because I didn't even know what that was, until you come across it. So I started to look after myself, decided to look after myself. I could switch off pain really easily. So if I was injured you carry work injuries like back was bad, my hip was bad, my hips was worn out with arthritis, and now it seems to be really good. But so I could switch off that pain really easy, just not concentrate on it. Sometimes, with pain, it's not always consistent, so there'll be a little bit there that you feel no pain, and amongst a whole lot of sort of pain, and so you just concentrate on that little bit that has no pain, and you can just get rid of the pain really easy. So, and I thought, well, actually, that's not a great way to live your life, is to avoid all the pain. So I made a conscious decision to actually, no, I'll see what it's like to feel all the pain. So as soon as I did that, I had a really sore back for a week. And that was really hard to work with, go to work on that. My hips seemed to recover, like I had no pain in that, so I didn't have to block that out. But so that was one thing. And the other thing was trying to care for myself a bit better, love myself more. So I saw on a YouTube you could do one little thing, so I thought, I actually really like it, a foot massage. So I used to massage my feet when I had a shower every night, and that always made you feel good. And trying to have a shower straight after work makes you feel more refreshed. And then I started having decaf coffee instead of coffee, and having less of those, and probably a few more hot chocolates instead. and I cut out sugar as well. And that brings me to another thing is I was eating more healthily. Like I'd have fish and chips, and then I'd want to have a salad with it. So I'd do that sort of thing. And then I was on the end of my bed one time and going, "Is this it, God?" And then I started a process of forgiving people, and so I used to visualize if someone had done something horrible to me or said something bad. I'd go like I'd have this visualization of them, and then sort of like have a flame that sort of burnt away. And so that's what I did. And I thought, it might take me 5 minutes to do all this, and it was more like 3 weeks. I didn't realise how many people were involved in doing horrible things to me. So that was kind of an insight. Not that I was doing it full time for 3 weeks, but yeah. So and then I had to forgive myself, also for not looking after myself as well as I could have. And not probably sticking up for myself as much as I should have. Yeah. So and then I forgave God, which is kind of similar to forgiving yourself, really, because there's a bit of God in everyone. And then that was a major trigger for the awakening, and and then I had this funny circumstance where a thing would continuously show up in my life, and it was kind of a really unique thing, so it wasn't particularly nice, but I forgave my past version of myself in another life as well. So that was quite interesting. Yeah. So all that together. And one other thing, when I was working, like the boss tells you when you to have, not the horrible bosses, but or anything like that, but usually you feel like you have to have your toilet break on the smoko break or the lunchtime break, and drink water around that time. And I just gave myself more permission to, okay, I want to go to the toilet now, so I'd not do it on the grass or anything. I'd go to the toilet, but just when I needed to, or I'd have a drink just when I felt thirsty. So, and again, that was more looking after myself. I'd get people to help me lift things, so my lower back wouldn't be taking as much strain. I always tried to tell the truth if possible, and avoid looking at the media, especially the news. It's all very negative, and it's a case of putting bad stuff in, you're getting bad stuff out. So, and that sort of, I didn't realise how much of an impact that was, just watching the news. And I thought it was like a good thing to watch the news, and then you knew what was happening, and you might be able to do something about it. But usually it relates to people not having much impact, and it's all very fear-based instead of love-based. It probably sells what they're trying to sell, get people eyes on watching the ads and things. But yeah, and I decided I was going to take over what I wanted to watch, so I did that. And I'm just looking at my notes here, making sure. And I've just I eat a lot of cucumbers, so and that was going back to if I'd eaten something bad, I'd have some cucumbers, and that really made me feel a lot better in the stomach and that sort of thing. One of the other things I noticed, like I'm a vegetarian, so I was eating a lot of nuts, particularly almonds, and I found that almonds are really they've got some sort of chemical in them, and they were reacting with me, and I was getting rashes on my feet. I had a rash on my buttocks for a long time. It's lovely. And as soon as I stopped eating the almonds, it took about 3 weeks, and then it took me ages to work out. That was a couple of years ago. It was the almonds and the nuts and peanut butter. I used to love peanut butter too. So they were causing all my sort of allergy reactions, and I had to change my shampoo and soap too. I was getting reactions from those, so more delicate stuff, and deodorant. And I used to be not allergic to anything, but in my earlier years I was working I did a lot of spraying, roadside spraying for weeds, and then also, not that I had much contact with the chemical, but I also sprayed vegetable crops, and with a heavy amount of pesticides and fungicides and things, and sometimes not as protected as I could be. So maybe that didn't help as well. So so hopefully this lets you know what might trigger an awakening. And of course, awakening is when you sort of like look inside yourself to understand yourself a bit better. So and I'll try and put more things on the YouTube, and click and subscribe. I'll use the bell. I was sort of new at this, so and we've got a little business called Cut It Out Cards to help us support it. So that's cutitoutcards.com. Just easy to cut out cards that you print off, like birthday cards and all sorts of cards. So check that out, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.